Does cutting taxes magically increase government revenue? Believe it or not, people actually believed it was possible back in the 80s. Here's why you shouldn't fall for it. Perhaps the biggest laugh from all of the Reagan tax cut era is the Laffer Curve. Created during a booze-fueled fever dream at a DC watering hole and hastily sketched onto a cocktail napkin, now proudly on display at the Smithsonian, it was drawn up for Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney by economist Arthur Laffer. The Laffer Curve says that cutting taxes can actually increase government revenue. Wait, what? The idea is that high taxes take away the incentive for hard work because the more money earned, the more gets taken away. Laffer said there was a magic optimal point on his curve. Light on specifics, don't forget this fit on a cocktail napkin. Between 0%, no revenue and hence no government, and 100%, too much taxation, so everyone refuses to work on principle, I guess. Where cutting taxes would stimulate so much growth that wages would spike, and despite lower taxes, government receipts would boom. It was total horseshit. Cutting taxes cuts government revenue, just as logic suggests. Tax cuts do not pay for themselves. At least one Center for American Progress study shows this definitively. Cutting taxes doesn't increase revenue. It increases the federal budget deficit. But this fact hasn't stopped those who support tax cuts from endlessly humping Laffer's idea, even today. For years, policy wonk Paul Ryan tried to fudge his budget plans using dynamic scoring, a way of covering up the budget holes made by tax cuts by assuming that huge growth rates would erase them. That's just a Laffer Curve redux. Those huge growth rates were supposed to be stimulated by the tax cuts Ryan was trying to get, even though we know from decades of real-world experience that tax cuts do not magically inspire increased investment or dramatic growth. Even in 2017, when President Trump and Republicans passed a massive corporate tax cut, these same promises were part of the sales pitch. We were told that corporate tax savings would result in rising wages. Instead, a smattering of bonuses were handed out, amounting to about 2 to 3% of the value of the business tax cut, while the lion's share went to stock buybacks designed to boost corporate share prices. I bet you never saw that coming. The massive growth spurred by the tax cuts also failed to materialize. A 2019 study by the Congressional Research Service showed GDP growth after the tax cut was about 95% short of what Republicans had promised. Tax cuts don't pay for themselves. Please laugh directly in the face of anyone who says otherwise. People who pay attention to economics know that supply side doesn't work. People like you and me may not bother to look at what economic textbooks say, but we also know that supply side is a joke. So why don't Republicans get laughed out of the room when they flog these tired old ideas about tax cuts, proven wrong by decades of real-life experience and hard economic data? Shouldn't results matter? Shouldn't it matter that we have seen these ideas proven wrong again and again? Shouldn't it matter that their promises never come to fruition? How long do we have to let them get away with this? Why doesn't this situation ever change? The situation never changes because the political class benefits from ignoring the truth. Career politicians in both major parties depend on rich people to keep their jobs. If there's one thing rich people hate, it is paying more taxes than everybody else. So there is constant pressure from rich people exerted onto the political class to cut their taxes. The truth is that economic data doesn't matter. The truth is that as long as rich people control our political system, what you and I know about the real world doesn't matter. As long as there have been rich people, there have been toadies who are willing to say what rich people want to hear and do what rich people want them to do. These servants of the rich can make a comfortable living by giving elaborate explanations for why the U.S. economy should stay the same, or why taxes should be cut, handing even more money to the already rich. All that does is give the rich and powerful a fig leaf to cover up what's really happening. The real agenda is protecting the power and privilege of those at the top. Supply side is a means to an end. It doesn't matter that it is bullshit. Tomorrow I'll wrap up my examination of supply side with a look at how trickle down was slightly misleading, because nothing much can ever trickle down when so much is getting power vacuum sucked right to the top. In the meantime, please like, follow, favorite, and consider subscribing to my free Substack. Let's make them pay. TK!